The emergency beacon lit up Jackson's console at 0300 hours, piercing through the silence of his small cargo vessel. As a veteran of the frontier wars, and now a single father hauling supplies between colonies, Jackson had seen his share of distress calls, but this one was different. The coordinates pointed to an abandoned research station on Kepler 44b, a planet that had been evacuated 3 years ago during the Zephyr Plague outbreak. Jackson's military instincts warred with his paternal caution. His 8-year-old daughter Elsa was asleep in the cabin behind him, her breathing soft and steady. Taking a detour meant adding 2 days to their journey home, but ignoring a distress call wasn't something Jackson could live with. No matter how many years had passed since he'd worn the uniform. "Computer, set course for Kepler 44b," he commanded quietly, "and keep life support stable in the cabin." The ship's AI acknowledged with a soft chime, and Jackson felt the subtle shift as they changed trajectory. 12 hours later, they entered the planet's atmosphere. The research station emerged from the morning mist like a ghost abandoned vehicles, overgrown pathways, and windows dark as dead eyes. But the distress beacon was definitely active, pulsing from somewhere inside the main building. "Daddy." Elsa appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "Where are we?" "Just a quick stop, sweetheart," Jackson said, already strapping on his old service pistol. "I need you to stay on the ship and no way." Elsa crossed her small arms, her expression fierce despite the sleepiness in her eyes. "You always say we're a team. Teams don't split up." Jackson sighed. She had her mother's stubbornness, that was for certain. And after losing Sarah to cancer 2 years ago, he'd made a promise to never lie to their daughter. "Stay close to me. Touch nothing. Understand?" Elsa nodded solemnly, already pulling on her boots. The station's interior was worse than the exterior suggested. Overturned furniture, scattered research papers, and the unmistakable signs of a hasty evacuation. Jackson's combat training kicked in, automatically checking corners, listening for movement, one hand always near his weapon while the other held Elsa's hand. The distress beacon led them to the biological research wing. Jackson's blood ran cold. He knew what they'd been studying here before the evacuation. Zephyr biology. The plague that had killed millions. "Daddy, look." Elsa pointed to a doorway marked Quarantine Lab 7. Inside, they found her. The alien child was small, perhaps Elsa's age, with translucent bluish skin that seemed to shimmer in the emergency lighting. She was huddled next to an adult of the same species, clearly her mother, who lay motionless on the floor. The child's large dark eyes fixed on them with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "Please, ... The child spoke in halting standard English, her voice melodic yet breaking. "Mr. Human, Mummy can't walk anymore. She's sleeping too much." Jackson's trained eye took in the scene instantly. The mother was breathing, but barely. Dehydration, malnutrition, and something else. Her skin had taken on a grayish hue that spoke of serious illness. "How long have you been here?" Jackson asked gently, kneeling down to the child's level. "Many days. Maybe 20 sleeps. We hid when the bad sickness came. Mummy said we'd be safe here, that someone would come back, but no one did, and now Mummy won't wake up right." Elsa squeezed her father's hand. "Daddy, we have to help them." Jackson's mind raced. His ship had a medical bay, basic but functional. These weren't humans, but the universal medical protocols established after first contact should apply. The real question was whether he could risk it. Unknown alien physiology, possible contamination, and he had Elsa to think about. He looked at his daughter, seeing Sarah's compassion shining in her eyes. Then he looked at the alien child, seeing the same desperate fear he'd felt watching his wife slip away in that hospital bed. "What's your name?" he asked the alien girl. "I am called Lyra." "Lyra, I'm Jackson, and this is my daughter Elsa. We're going to help you and your mother, but I need to carry her to our ship. Can you walk?" Lyra nodded quickly, hope flooding her features. Jackson carefully assessed the mother's condition. She was light, remarkably so, her species apparently having evolved on a lower gravity world. He could carry her. "Elsa, I need you to hold Lyra's hand and guide her to the ship. Stay together, stay behind me." "Understood." "Yes, Daddy." Jackson lifted the alien woman as carefully as he could. She stirred slightly, murmuring something in her own language. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got you." The journey back to the ship was tense. Jackson's muscles remembered every evacuation he'd performed during his military service, but this felt different, more personal. Beside him, Elsa held Lyra's hand tightly, whispering reassurances in the way only children can, simple, honest, and full of certainty that everything would be okay. Once aboard, Jackson placed the mother in the medical bay and initiated the diagnostic sequence. The AI took several minutes analyzing the unknown biology before delivering its assessment: severe dehydration, malnutrition, and a bacterial infection that, fortunately, responded to broad-spectrum antibiotics. She recovered, the AI announced. Recommended treatment: hydration, nutrition, supplementation, and a 3-day course of antibiotics. Lyra burst into tears, and Elsa immediately hugged her. Jackson set up an IV line, his military medic training coming back like riding a bicycle. As he worked, he called the nearest colonial authority station, reporting the rescue and requesting proper medical support at their next destination. 3 days later, as they approached Haven Station, Lyra's mother was awake and recovering. Her name was Thaler, a xenobiologist who had been studying Earth diseases when the evacuation order came. She and Lyra had been separated from the evacuation convoy and had hidden, waiting for rescue that never came. "Why did you help us?" Thaler asked Jackson quietly while the girls played with Elsa's collection of toys. "You didn't know if we were infected. You had your daughter to protect." Jackson watched Elsa and Lyra laughing together, already inseparable friends despite knowing each other for only 3 days. "Because someone once told me that being human isn't about what species you are. It's about the choices you make when someone needs help." He smiled sadly. "My wife used to say that, and I promised her I'd teach our daughter the same lesson." Thaler placed her 3-fingered hand gently on his shoulder. "Your daughter learned well, and so have I. I thought I understood humans from studying your biology, but I was wrong. Your greatest strength isn't physical, it's this." She gestured to where Elsa was patiently teaching Lyra a hand-clapping game. As Haven Station grew larger in the view, Jackson felt something he hadn't felt since Sarah's death: hope. Not just for himself and Elsa, but for the future. A future where a human child and an alien child could hold hands without fear, where a single father could look at someone completely different from himself and see only someone who needed help. "Mr. Human," Lyra's voice called out. She ran over and hugged his leg. "Thank you for carrying Mummy. Thank you for saving us." Jackson knelt down and smiled at both girls. "You don't need to call me Mr. Human, Lyra. You can call me Jackson. Or, if you want, you can call me what Elsa calls me." "Dad?" Lyra asked hopefully. Jackson's throat tightened. "Well, I was thinking more like Uncle Jackson, but we can work out the details." Elsa beamed. "Does this mean Lyra is like my sister now?" Jackson looked at Thaler, who smiled through tears of gratitude. "If her mother agrees, I think that could be arranged." As Haven Station's docking bay doors opened to receive them, Jackson realized that sometimes the most important missions aren't the ones you planned for. Sometimes they're the ones that find you at 0300 hours, in the form of a distress call and a little girl who just needs someone to carry her mother to safety. And sometimes, in saving others, we save ourselves.